Our last story before halftime, please welcome to the stage Elisabeth Poorman.
All right, I'm pretty nervous, so let's just keep this between us, guys. I was in my last year of medical residency, and I was waiting for my patient Tom in clinic, and I was dreading this visit. I had been Tom's doctor for about 3 years, and I usually looked forward to seeing him. He would show me pictures of his latest trip and talk about his plans for retirement, but not today. I had just diagnosed Tom with metastatic cancer, and I felt like I had failed him by not catching it sooner. I always knew that I wanted to be a doctor. As a little girl, I used to actually look forward to pediatrician visits. And I would think of random facts I could show off to my doctor, like the names of the bones in your ear, the anvil, hammer, and stirrup. It's pretty cool, right? I would push myself to sit as silently as possible as I got my shots so I could prove how brave I was. Maybe other kids wanted to be superheroes, but to me, doctors were the ones with the real superpowers, and it would only take 30 years of school before I could become one of them. But becoming a doctor didn't give me superpowers. In fact, it seemed designed to point out that I was always going to fall short of an unattainable ideal. Even in college, each failure was treated as some kind of referendum on whether or not I was worthy of being a physician, as if solving organic chemistry equations were some kind of essential clinical skill. And I hate to ruin this for any current pre-medical students, but it really has not come up once. It's the truth. And in medical school, the pressure was even more intense. We were asked to recite answers to esoteric questions in the wards in front of one another, and humiliated when we didn't know. A ritual that we actually still call pimping. And the stakes were so much higher. I realized if I didn't know something, if I made a mistake, I could hurt somebody. When I saw my mentors make mistakes, I realized that they had very little forgiveness for themselves and for each other. The message was clear. The only way to be a good doctor was to be a perfect doctor. But I was not perfect. In residency, there was always more work than I could finish. I tried to feign confidence, but secretly I would hide out after my shift was over for hours, obsessively checking my work, terrified that I was going to hurt somebody. I often didn't have time to eat or sleep or even pee. And this made me depressed and inflexible, and it made me unforgiving of myself and my colleagues. But I still loved taking care of people, especially people like Tom, who had always been kind and encouraging as I was learning, even as I was meant to be taking care of him. As I waited for him that day, I was full of guilt. I felt like I should have prevented this, even if I didn't know how. And I thought, I have to do something, I have to fix this. And the only thing I could think to do was to be honest with him about how bad his prognosis was, and maybe protect him from treatment that I didn't think would help. He sat down in the exam room, and I remember the afternoon light was shining on us, and I fumbled awkwardly for a few minutes until I finally held his gaze and I said, "You know, Tom, most people with this diagnosis are not alive at 5 years. Are you sure that you want to go through with the chemo?" I still remember the deadly silence in the room and the pained, wounded look on his face. This was information that Tom was not ready to hear, at least not in that way. and I tried to take it back, but the thing about hurting somebody is that it's a point of no return. I called him later to apologize, and he said, "It's okay. I'm going to wait for my oncology appointment so I can talk to my doctor." For Tom, that no longer meant me. For so many years, I had been focused on being perfect, on not making a mistake, that I had forgotten that my true purpose was to listen. Instead of telling, I should have asked him, "How are you doing, Tom? What can I do to help?" I hadn't, and as a result, I had lost his trust. Tom died before I finished residency. I can't ask him for his forgiveness, but I can thank him. Thank you, Tom, for all the things that you taught me, all those years together, and especially this. My patients don't need me to be perfect. They don't need me to fix everything. They need me to be present. They need me to acknowledge my mistakes and my brokenness and my humanity so that I can acknowledge theirs. They need my compassion. They need my open, wounded heart.